compensated that way. Problem with that is trying to keep track of all of that for years in the future. So the safer way to do it is to actually go through the 429 process, hold the hearings, and make sure the properties are all, are all brought in that way. I don't know if you have anything you want to add.
If you decide to have an assessment on those other properties, even though they're unimproved, you need to do it now before you award the project. You can't go backwards later. And the property owners need the opportunity to be noticed and have an opportunity to be heard and have a hearing. So it's, you do it now or you pay for it all yourself.
The other option, of course, is Mike could petition like John did,
That's correct.
in which case we wouldn't have to hold a hearing. We would have to make sure that Mike understood that the assessments that would be levied against those properties would be, they would be deferred until such a time that the property's subdivided. That way he shouldn't be under the impression that he's gonna have to pay an assessment on those properties if they never develop.
How does that get accomplished? Is that something that's added to his deed as a deferred assessment?
Yes.
We would have to record an agreement.
Record it,
Yeah.
And put it of record so that any future landowner or purchaser would know about that assessment.
It would come up at the time of sale that this is out there. They would have to be satisfied.
So the 6 hour have to pay an assessment too?
No. They're not, they've already got their utilities. So this project wouldn't create any extra value for their property.
There's no more buildable land there, right? For them.
Correct. If there was, they would utilize the services. I would think they'd use the services that they have.
So phase 1 would go up to the manhole and then stop?
Up to that hydrant.
Right by John's place,
Where?
just past John's
Not
house.
quite that high. Right up to where the driveway is.
Yeah, that's where it is, right there.
Oh,
That
yep,
hydrant, yeah.
yep, right there. Go all the way along there, and then up to there.
So the sanitary, that would be all gravity, all,
Yeah, it'll be all gravity. It'll actually be an SDR 26 pressure pipe, so that way we can limit the space in between the water main and the sanitary sewer. So it won't be your standard PVC pipe. It'll be a pressure pipe. It just has a different thickness, so we can. That's just the only way around getting the Department of Health's code.
So you can
They would
almost
be-
joint
We
trench it.
can put them together. Yeah.
any buffer, gravel or whatever between them, or is the
No.
added thickness suffice?
Yep.
You can recall at one point in time, we were looking at the requirement to have a grinder pump. That's one of the reasons that we stopped moving forward on the project at that time, because of the excessive costs that would be incurred by the homeowner. What we would do is, because there's a difference between the 9,500 and what the total cost of the project will be, whatever the extra cost is, we would just place on your taxes. Spread them out.
So on the preliminary survey, so to speak, you haven't determined any depth or anything?
No.
Or surveys that,
No, we haven't actually gone through and do the design yet.
So here it says 8-inch or 6-inch pipe. With 8-inch, you can go deeper.
You're doing 8-inch
I think
sanitary.
8-inch sanitary and
6-inch
6-inch water
water.
main.
A 6-inch water main, why so big?
Well, it would be for the future connections as well for up the hill.
6-inch water main?
well, eventually, as they were saying here, there's phase 2 and phase 3.
If you got measurements up there, it doesn't take much to suck out a 4-inch water main.
The other thing,
If you hook up fire.
There'd be possible too, possible.
You have hydrants up there though too, Roger. And if I go up there with a fire engine and hook up, if I can collapse a 4-inch line pretty easy.
Yeah.
We need it for fire flow, but also recall that one of the issues we have in the north end is the water pressure. One way to solve some of the water pressure issue is to bring this line all the way up through and connect it into Hamlin Park.
Okay.
So we're trying to, that's phase 3, but, you know, we're trying to look far range for these projects and not just build to what we need right for the immediate.
The Department of Health's code is minimum is 6 inch. You can't put in 4 inch. It has to be a service if that's the case. But if it's a water main, the minimum is the 6 inch.
Out of curiosity, where's the connection after the phase 3 would be done? Would that be going right by the electronic warehouse, or?
Yeah.
Another easement rather than just the electrical easement there?
Right. Not the road easement.
So we're talking about just phase 1?
Just
At
phase
this
1,
point?
correct. Phase 2 properties are not in the city at this time. So if the project were to move forward into phase 2, that will be a whole different set of plans they would have to pay for, different assessments for them, and there's some easements that we would ask that they would be required to obtain for us to extend the services. And then it gets into the whole issue about building, you know, properties in the other city and how we're gonna handle all of that. So, as we've said all along, our concern is Mr. Dahman, who lives in the city, trying to come up with the most economical way to provide him with these services.
So his estimated cost would be about 13,000.
Correct.
For
Of
the
which is
services.
Right.
For the services.
for the services only. Then he has his connection fees to run the pipe to the house. One thing we've also done is we've said that we want, in the agreement, we have language that would bring the water to his house, but wouldn't require him to use it right away. That way he can continue to use his well until there's an issue with his well. So that would save them some water. That's an exception to our policy as well. Council could disagree with that, and we could change that. But we're trying to find every way we can to plan for the future, to have it all in place.
So it's up to John to run from here to the house,
From the main to the house, just like any other homeowner.
but his cost for the rest of this would be 13,000 up to here.
Of which he's getting $9,500 reimbursed for the easement. And the rest he can spread out over, what, a 10-year, usually do 10-year, 20 years.
Kathy, what is the sewer connection fee?
1,000 for each.
1,000 for sewer and 1,000 for water. Same that everybody else pays. What would a grinder pump have cost?
13,000 just for the grinder pump and another 10 for the line, for the connection, so easily 23,000. Grinder pumps are expensive.
And they don't always work.
They
So-
usually only have like a 15-year warranty on them.